Van Deeb, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van Deeb.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Hey, get motivated. Welcome back to the Van Deeb podcast. I'm so excited. This is part 3 of a series of having a winning mindset. And today we're going to talk about winners and their attitudes and what makes them being considered a winner. But, you know, I'm so excited because in my part 1 and my part 2, and now in this final part, I get to be across from one of my favorite people on the planet. And his name is Jay Miralles. Jay, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Van, for having me. It's been a great part of the series. I'm most excited about the third part because, you know, we've discussed in parts 1 and part 2. I think this third part is going to sum everything up.
It's all about, we talked in the part 1 of the podcast. In part 2, we talked about a winning mindset. And we didn't talk about something that is very important, and that's quitters.
Oh, my gosh.
Winners never quit, and quitters never win.
Right. So simple.
It's just simple. And something that really blew me away, and I hope my audience goes out and buys this, is the series of the 212 degrees. It was given to me. It was a CD. I don't know.
I know what book it is. So at 211 degrees.
Yeah, so the concept is at 211 degrees, it's warm.
Yes.
At 212 degrees, water's boiling.
Yes.
And the whole premises is people quit right before they were going to get to the finish line.
At 211 degrees.
Yeah, so that whole premises is of this 212 degrees, but they can Google this and get all the information they want. I'm not going to talk any more about it on this short podcast, but that is the concept that we're going to talk about today. Is sometimes we quit when we're almost there. A lot. And Jay, I know that you've been around business people. You've had businesses. You start businesses. You're an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and people learn from you.
I appreciate that.
Have you had any instances in your life that you've not stuck around long enough for the finish line?
Yes, and I can tell you, businesses, right? Let's just go generic. Probably 10, 15 years back, I started a salon, and I bought a salon, an existing salon, and my wife did it just so that we can invest our money to see if we can learn. And it was going well. We didn't have the patience that I have now, nor did we have all the resources. So what I did was I sold it on haste to the manager. Mm-hmm. We're talking.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, we sold it on haste. And guess what? It blew up. It's an amazing business now, and she is thriving, and her customers are happy. But she needed to put just a little bit more time, a little bit more patience, and she needed
passion
and love.
Yep.
And guess what? I fell short on all those areas because in that mindset, I said, I'm going to try. Maybe this will work. I will, but I did all those things. So I wasn't in to win.
Do you feel like you were lacking a winning mindset when you made that decision?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Even before I entered it, I said, I'm going to try. I said, I'm going to try.
Yeah. Yeah. For people listening, if you haven't had a winning mindset ever, it's okay.
Right.
You can develop a winning mindset.
Right.
You just have to believe in yourself and be grateful and do all the steps necessary. There's a guy that I really admired named Walter Payton, one of the best running backs in the history of the National Football League.
Yes.
And this is something that he said that really, really, makes me feel good whenever I read it. And he said, if you ask me how I want to be remembered, it is as a winner. You know what a winner is? A winner is somebody who has given his best effort. And we've talked about that, Jay, about effort. He says a winner is somebody who has given his best effort, who has tried the hardest they possibly can, who has utilized every ounce of energy and strength within them to accomplish something. It doesn't mean that they accomplished it or failed. It means that they've given it their best. That's a winner. And I I like that quote of the thousands that I've read because I feel the same way. Effort.
Yes.
I would hate to say I'm not a winner. Well, why is that? Well, because I didn't try.
Right.
You know, a winner to me, a winner doesn't always win.
No.
Winners don't always win. It's not like, when we're programmed to think that, well, that guy wins all the time, he must be a winner. No. You can be a winner and never win.
The prize or the game.
It's an attitude.
Yes.
It's a mindset. It's having a winning attitude.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give somebody the same attention and kudos and love that puts the effort to win as I do the guy that wins.
Right.
I just am.
Because you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Do whatever it takes. And like in business, I consider a winning mindset, which is one of my biggest qualities, Jay, in being a businessman, a salesperson, entrepreneur, is I'm resourceful.
Yeah, that's it. Having resources is one thing,
Yeah.
but being resourceful with what you have is
Exactly.
everything.
If I think there's somebody that can help me go from A to B
Yes.
and accomplish something, I'm not afraid to get on the phone.
Right.
I'm not afraid to get on the phone and call the top of the food chain.
Right.
And say, can you help me? Because what can happen? What's the worst that can happen?
You don't.
Van
they say
Deeb,
no.
go pound sand.
Right. But what the other worst thing that can happen is what if they were going to help you and you never asked them?
Exactly.
That's the worst case. Yeah. Because I think people are in analysis paralysis, Van. That's why they're.
So this all goes together. My latest book is The Power of Asking.
Yes.
You can buy it at vandeeb.com.
Yes.
And I wrote that because of that, because I've met too many people in my life that didn't get to where they want to go because they didn't ask, they didn't have the winning mindset, and they didn't utilize their resources.
Right.
I'm just going to give you an example of utilizing your resources. I had a manager that our furnace wasn't working in our building. And one of the managers, I said, can you call and get them out here? And he came back and said, they won't be here for 3 days. Maybe it was an air conditioner. I'm not exactly sure. And I said, okay. And I said, watch this. And now, I had a lot to learn in being a good manager. I probably would have done it differently.
Sure.
Matter of fact, I would have done it differently. But I was a little cocky about it. And I said, watch this. I get on the phone and I call the president of the company, of the heat and air company. And I said, we've been customers of yours for a long time. We can't go without air conditioning for 3 days like you told my manager earlier. I need somebody out here right away.
Right.
They came out the same day.
Because you asked.
Because I asked, but I was also resourceful.
Yes.
And so if we don't utilize our resources, you better not complain. How many people do you know that complain and complain and complain because something wasn't done? Then you ask them, who'd you call? How did you try to get it done? What did you do?
Yes. People quit at the first no. Do you know?
Exactly.
Everybody does.
They do. It's like when I go to Costco. You're only supposed to take one sample. I go back several times until they shoo me out of the building.
Yeah, well, what's the worst case scenario, right?
I'm being resourceful.
Yes. But I think, Van, like what you're talking about is quitters never win. It's because people give up when they say, oh, my cubicle mate told me I can't buy a house because I have to have half money down. And they go, yep, I'm just going to quit finding a house because you're right. They never get resourceful and ask the right people. So when you don't like an answer, it's okay to search for more answers. That makes you a winner.
Exactly. Do you feel like you can be labeled a quitter and one day make a decision and say, I'm not going to be a quitter ever again? And you can change your life and wake up tomorrow morning with an attitude of gratitude and convince yourself that you're a winner? You feel that's possible?
It is possible. You have to be developed that way.
Exactly.
You can't do it on your own.
But you can create it.
You can create it.
You can come from a family of people that were quitters. You can come from a family of negative.
Yes.
You can come from an environment that was not conducive to being successful.
Right.
And you can change that to get that winning mindset.
Oh, you could have people tell you how big of a loser you are and that you're never going to amount to anything.
You should use that as fuel.
Right. That's right.
I used that when I started my real estate company out of my basement. And I had my competitors say, you're never going to make it in this city.
Right.
It's never going to happen. And I tell you, I use that as fuel.
Right.
And those same competitors, 15 years later are offering me 7 figures to buy my big, huge company.
Right.
So you use that as fuel.
Yes.
No one should ever have a mindset that they're a quitter and that they can't develop a winning attitude.
I would agree. And I do, like you said, I do believe you can develop it, but you have to hang around the right people. A self-help book is good. I think reading your books are a start, but having someone like you coaching, fortunately, I can have you as a friend.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have you as a friend
Well,
because there's only one of you. But I'm saying you got to find that one person that everyone is freakishly saying, man, that guy's always have a winning mindset, positive attitude. Most people shun away from that. The 97% say, I that's not for me. That's okay. I don't condemn them.
You just touched on something, Jay. So last night I was at a charity banquet to honor 30 years of mentoring for kids.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I had my uncle is one of the 3 people that was being honored, believing in children and mentoring them. And it's very inspirational. And they had people get up and tell stories. And you know what? These kids that were mentored, or these people that were mentored and what they succeeded in, they didn't have 50 people mentoring them. You said something a little bit ago. It's one person. One person that you believe in.
Yeah.
That can give you a winning attitude and a winning mindset and convince you not to quit.
I would agree, and hold you accountable.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Can you give me any other examples that you might be able to help my audience of something they can do every day when they get up? Is there just a tidbit? We're almost done here today with our 3-part series, but tell me something that my audience can get a takeaway, that they can get up tomorrow morning and try this.
Here's what I'm going to tell you, and they can try it right now.
Call Jay to buy a house.
They can do it right now. First of all, remove the word try from the vocabulary. You got to remove that, because
I will.
When your dry cleaner says, hey, can we have this back on Friday? They say, I'll try. What does that mean?
Yeah.
There's a possibility
I
it may not
need this
happen.
back on Friday.
And they say yes, then I'm convinced. So I want you to reach out to someone that you really admire and respect unconditionally, right? That's number 1. Okay. You have to find someone.
So tomorrow morning, you want my audience to find somebody that they admire unconditionally.
Yes.
And respect. Okay.
And respect. And ask them for their help. And say, I'm trying to make myself better like this, and I've observed you with this behavior that I like. Will you help me do this? I'm going to give you an example of how I'm actually doing this right now. James Seda, 390 pounds, is where I met this gentleman. He is shooting me a picture of everything that he's been eating for the past 4 months. And last week and a half, he sent me a picture on an airplane with no belt extender for the very first time in 11 years.
How'd that make you feel?
You know, it made me feel like $1 million, but guess how it made his wife feel?
How powerful was that?
Oh my gosh.
Talk about a winning mindset.
Yes, because he didn't have it, and now he's sending me stuff that I'm not even asking him for.
Man, that's powerful.
But he had to borrow my mentality for a bit, my attitude for a bit. Now he's spreading it to others.
He's holding himself accountable to you.
It took a while.
You've empowered him to do it to others.
Oh yeah. The belt extender. He showed me a picture of it. He goes, look, I don't need this anymore. I was like, wow. For me, it made me cry, right?
Yeah. It would make me cry too. So, so what you're saying is like I tell real estate people, I'm nothing special. I really believe that. I believe that God created all of us equally. We all have the same amount of talent, and some of us choose to use it and some don't. I chose to use my talent. But I love telling future business pros and real estate agents, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yes.
And that's what they need to hear.
Yes.
That it's not a special club that you belong to. Well, I'm in a winner's mindset club. No. It's one you create and you can get there.
What I love is mindset doesn't even take a true intelligence. It just takes the willingness, the will set, not the skill set. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but guess what? I'm able to sell homes.
Well, tell you, about the smartest guy in the world. Back when I was a kid, I'd bring home D's and D minuses, and my mom and dad wouldn't say a word.
Right.
I'd bring home an A, and they grounded me because they knew I cheated.
That's hilarious. No,
I wish I was kidding.
but that's
You got
how
an
the
A,
world-
young man. You go get in your room and think about what you did.
Did you copy off Bob again?
No, it was Cindy this time, Ma.
Sure. We've been picking on Cindy lately, whoever
I
she
know
is.
it. But Jay, I want to tell you something. Your information, and when I hear you talk, I pay attention. And that's what you're telling people today. Find somebody tomorrow when they wake up that when they talk, you pay attention. You're not asking them for any material thing.
No, nothing.
You're saying, like this gal that I don't know the other day, she goes, I really want to become better. Is there a book that you recommend? Well, I'm a big fan of Joel Osteen and all these other spiritual and business leaders also.
Yes.
And I gave her a recommendation for a book besides my own.
Right.
But I gave her a recommendation, and that made me feel good that she asked and that she was being resourceful. But Jay, for my audience, for them to get in contact with you, because I know that you empower and inspire a lot of people, especially me.
Thank you.
You always have since day one. Can you tell my audience how they can get a hold of you if they want to do some real estate business, or if they want you to? I know you're an authority on keto.
Yes.
You really are. You've changed a lot of people's lives with that. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, I appreciate it. I'll keep it really short. Hopefully the links are at the bottom, but my telephone number, 402-708-6597. I'm an old-fashioned guy. Call me. I'll pick up the phone.
Well, what's your email?
My email is jay.miralles@gmail.com. It's really simple, and I hope that you can just put the links below. But I will return your call. I will get back with you.
You always do.
And I will help you or point you in the right direction. Right?
If you guys want to get a hold of Jay for anything too, you can always get a hold of me at vandeeb.com. But Jay, I want to thank you for this 3-part series, and this could be a 33-part series.
I'm grateful. Listen,
if we wanted to, but I'm going to have you back because there's so many topics that I love to get your opinion on, and if I love getting your opinion, I know my audience will love it. But I'm super grateful for you, Jay Miralles, and I'm grateful that you got to be part of this 3-part podcast.
I'm going to walk out on cloud 9 today.
Well,
this is going to be awesome. Listen, I'm going to supercharge my night. I've got some great things ahead of me. My mindset is definitely sharp right now.
Got a winner's mindset.
Because I'm hanging around you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, my man. So please, everybody, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, and get motivated because you have that ability. No one can take that away from you. And thanks again for listening to my podcast. Have a great day.
A Parkville Media Production.